Hello everybody, you found Nintoonist coming at you with a bit of a different video today here. This is, sort of a Super Smash Bros. Commentary. It's, I've never really done anything like this before. It's just, you know, there's a lot of hype surrounding Smash 4, and you know me, like being the big Nintendo fan that I am. I'm all aboard the hype train. I'm like in the frickin' caboose of that thing. No, screw the caboose. I'm like up in the front. I want to like shake hands with the conductor and just like pilot that hype train with him. Because it feels good. Hail Reggie. Okay. Some of the gameplay here is how I played classic mode, well, one-player mode technically, for the N64 version, and I played them on all the hardest difficulties. That's some of the gameplay here. So I'm just generally going to talk about different, like, aspects of Smash and whatnot, and, like, you know, basically variable things about it, like concerning the new game and like what people think of it and whatnot. And the first thing I'd like to talk about is the whole original 12 thing. Well, if you don't know what that means, the original 12 refers to the 12 original characters that were in Super Smash Bros., which I believe were Mario, DK, Link, Samus, Yoshi, Kirby, Fox, Pikachu, Luigi, Ness, Jigglypuff, and Captain Falcon, to name them all. Oh, I actually named them all. Oh, wow, proud of, good for me, yay. Some people think, I don't know, that, like, some people are a little too extreme about the original 12. Like, the original 12, they have to come back, and, like, they don't technically need to, like, include any other veterans, because they just need to include people that were in the original, like, 12, that were, like, the original 12. I don't understand that. I mean, do you really think they're gonna cut Falco, or, like, Wario, or Ganondorf characters as important to Nintendo as them, just because, like, they weren't in the N64 version? I mean, do you really understand that logic? Because, I mean, I don't. I really don't. I mean, they're all gonna come back. I mean, 10 of them are already confirmed to come back. The only people, as of when I'm recording this right now, that are in the original 12 and are not confirmed for Smash 4 right now, would be Ness and Jigglypuff. And they're both gonna come back, come on. I mean, they're not gonna cut Ness. He's established for Smash Bros. And there are a lot of, that would upset the Earthbound fanbase. A lot. And the Earthbound fanbase, they're not the liveliest one in the world, but they still want Mother 3 to, like, come to America and whatnot, and you can't blame them for that. So, that would piss them off if they cut Ness. And a lot of people don't seem to really want Jigglypuff to come back, and I don't understand that. I understand he's not as important to Pokemon. I mean, I understand my mistake, I forgot Jigglypuff's a girl. I forgot that she wasn't as important to Pokemon now as she was back then. But I feel like Jigglypuff is so much more established of a Smash Brothers character now than, like, more of a Pokemon one. And it would be, like, rude of them not to include her, because, like, this is Jigglypuff. She is in Smash Bros. Everyone knows that. I mean, because she was in Melee, obviously, and in Brawl. So why would they cut her from Smash 4? And I like Jigglypuff. I mean, Jigglypuff is impressive. I mean, you can, with all the jumps she has, like, and all the aerial jumps, you can, like, do a follow-up all the way off to the side of the stage to attack the person when they're off the stage and pretty much really launch them off there. And if you mess up, that's fine. You could just go right back to the stage with all the jumps she has. You just gotta be careful not to get, like, meteor smashed by the opponent or something. So, yes, I do believe the original 12, all of them are coming back, but it's not because they're in the original 12. I don't feel like they have some sort of, like, special, exceptional ruling because of that. But that's just me, you know? This, I doubt, is gonna happen, but I really hope the Metal Cavern, like, you know, in Smash 64 comes back, because that was one of my favorite stages. I loved fighting Metal Mario on that stage, very difficult boss, but I really liked that stage for some reason. Probably because it was just, like, sort of like a Smash Brothers rendition of that famous spot in Mario 64, so I guess that's why I liked it so much. Which reminds me of when I Let's Played Super Mario 64, and I made that ghetto-tastic thumbnail. I just made, like, a comparison of, like, the Metal Cavern from Smash Bros. 64, I think, right next to the one in Mario 64. Like, that was what I made for the thumbnail. And that was back when I used Pinnacle Studio to record Let's Plays, and when I used, when I used, like, Microsoft Paint Studio to make thumbnails. Good God, that was, those were ghetto dark times of the Nintoonist kind. It was, the quality of those videos were just so bad and whatnot, especially considering the fact that my first 3 Let's Plays, my headset was plugged in, but it turned out I was never recording through my headset, and I was using my internal speakers because I never actually switched that off in Audacity. There was a little button to press to switch to your headset, just a little button that you needed to press, and I never pressed it. Ugh, God, that was so dumb, but I'm dwelling off on that. That doesn't matter anymore. So either way, I hope that stage comes back in some fashion, because I know that, like, unlike other Smash Brothers games, they're just including stages mixed from games. Like, they're not... You know how in Brawl, like, there are some Melee stages that made the cut? I think they're all just mixed in the new Smash Brothers if you watch the Nintendo Direct that announced Greninja. Like, the Halberd stage is in there, just because it is. You know, like, just because they decide, like, oh, we like this stage, we're just gonna put it in the game. Same for Jungle Japes, which is a Melee stage. And I guess they just don't really care about, like, what game they're from anymore, and they're just putting them in. Which is good, the more the merrier, right? More stages, the better. Moving on to Melee. And Melee, I'm about to fanboy so hard. Melee was my childhood game. I've been in love with this game since I was, like... I was about to say since I was 3. But I realize now that's not possible because I was 3 in 1999, and Melee wasn't out yet. So I guess since I was about 6 years old is when I, like, started playing Melee. When I was just, like, such a little kid, I played it when I never owned a GameCube at that point when I was 6. I owned one a couple years later. And when I was in New York with my cousins, I always just, like, played it with them a lot. And I got so good at that game because I just played it so much. I was so in love with it. Gosh. I think it's a better game in a lot of aspects. Like the fact that it's faster, that you can wave dash the announcer, and like the general atmosphere and theme of the game. But I'm also not a total Melee fanatic. I'm not one of those people. Like, I liked Brawl just as much as I liked Melee. Personally, I think it sucks that there are so many people who hate Brawl and already are shutting out Smash 4 just because, like, you can't wave dash. You know? I think these people aren't being open-minded enough, because yes, I think Melee was a better game in a lot of regards. This is coming from somebody who liked Melee's gameplay better. I liked the fact that it was faster, I liked the fact that really it was much more skill-based, because in Brawl, they kind of toned a lot of things down to make it a little more family-oriented. Not necessarily family-oriented, it's just they took out a lot of, like, strategies and combos and whatnot that you could do in Melee, and they took that out of Brawl because I think they just considered it too difficult for a non-competitive player. And I understand that Nintendo needs to think of all of their fans and whatnot, and not just, like, the pro Smash players, but I think they did tone down Brawl a little too much, because, like, you could practice and get good and get better, like, to be able to do the combos that, like, some of the big-time players do. Like I do. I mean, I'm not, like, a professional Smash Brothers player by any means, but I do consider myself to be quite good. Not to sound, like, narcissistic or, like, conceited or anything, but I do consider myself to be quite good at the game, and I didn't like the fact that they toned down Brawl a lot, but that doesn't mean they completely destroyed Smash Bros. Like, there are, like, you see some of those pro players who won't even, like, look at a copy of Brawl. Like, they'll look at it, and they'll just, like, barf all over it, and they'll have to run to the bathroom and get, like, a frickin' moist towelette and rub their face on it and be like, hey, sorry I barfed on your copy of Brawl, bruh. And you'll be like, oh, that's okay. I understand some people get sick looking at Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I don't understand that. Sure, Brawl was different, but it had a lot of phenomenal things about it, and it was a better game than Melee in a lot of ways, too. Melee had its time in the spotlight, and I think it's time to live in the present. And I'm not saying shut out Melee and forget about it, because I love Melee too, believe me. I like Melee better in a lot of aspects, like I described to you before. But enjoy the new Smash as well, because you'll always be miserable if the game isn't like Melee, because it's not going to be. I understand Melee is more for the pro Smash players, and I would know because I actually do follow competitive Smash a lot. I really like watching the pro players, because some of those kids are really goddamn good at Smash Bros. It's kind of like... it's scary, in a sense, because it's faster and, like, it's more difficult. But again, Nintendo has to think of all of their fans, not just the good players. And that's coming from someone who preferred Melee speed over Brawls. The moral of this is just, instead of caring if Smash is going back to Melee's mechanics, or, like, back to the quote-unquote good old days for some people, just hope that Smash 4 is fun. Just hope that the game is fun. That's really all that matters. If you can sit around with your friends and have a good time playing it, and if you want to go back to, like, a skill-based mechanic, go play Melee. I've been playing Melee a lot recently, so because I like Melee better in a lot of aspects, so just go play Melee. That's okay. I hope there's going to be, like, a new adventure mode in some aspects, like there was in Melee, but I doubt it. I doubt there's going to be, but I just really liked it a lot, because it had, like, such a showcase of, like, Nintendo's worlds and whatnot, and the reason I like Smash Bros. So much is because it took all the in-depth and magical worlds that Nintendo has created, and used all of them to create a world all its own. to create like such an in-depth experience for you that I think Melee accomplished better than Brawl, but I just finished talking about that, so that doesn't matter. Either way, it created such an in-depth world that you could just delve yourself into, like reading a good book or watching a great movie. I hope there's going to be a new adventure mode like that, but I don't think so. But that's okay. I'm sure the game's still going to be great. You'll notice by the gameplay I was playing as Dr. Mario in the adventure mode, and I hope Dr. Mario is included in some fashion. I know they're probably not going to include him again. I really doubt that they're going to include anyone from Melee that wasn't in Brawl into the new game. But what I'm hoping for is that he's included in some fashion, and by some fashion, I mean I hope he's like an alternate costume for Mario. I think that would be inappropriate if he wasn't an alternate costume for Mario, to be honest with you. I mean, hell, you saw like that recent screenshot from a couple weeks ago. They put the NES Open Remix outfit for Mario into this game, not the NES Open Remix. What? NES Open Remix? Okay, I just mixed up two games in my head. The NES Open Tournament Golf America outfit, you can play as freaking America Mario. You can play America Mario, you know, where his American flag hat and those overalls. It doesn't make sense because he's Italian, but if he wants to support America and good American values, I think he can. I think he should. That wasn't my best Texan voice. I'm usually better at it. That's usually one of my better impressions, but I'll work on it. Either way, I hope Dr. Mario's included in some fashion, because if they included America Mario, I think they should include Dr. Mario. Moving on to Mewtwo. The Mewtwo fanbase, I understand, would be quite upset. You'll probably see Mewtwo, like, when Greninja was announced, you probably see Mewtwo, like, crying in a corner, like, why does no one love me anymore? Thing is, though, a lot of people do love Mewtwo and want him to be in the game. And I think they could add Mewtwo, because, like, a lot of people want him, but I feel like that's the only reason people would add him. Sort of like a fan service, like the Sonic fanboys. Not the Sonic fanboys, that was a rude term. Because I wanted Sonic to be in Brawl as well, but, like, you know why Sakurai included Sonic in Brawl. The only reason he did is because so many people wanted him. So many people wanted Sonic to be in Brawl, and so that's why he put him in. So they could do the same thing for Mewtwo, but I doubt it. I don't know how they're gonna do that. It's kind of rude to Mewtwo, don't you think? Not just that they included like a new Pokemon, the new Pokemon character like Greninja in it, but that they returned Lucario as well, and that they're just gonna exclude Mewtwo from that. That would suck for him, but he's also fictional, so he's not gonna actually have emotions. But the people who want him in the game would definitely be upset about that. I personally don't care too much. I liked playing as Mewtwo in Melee. He wasn't necessarily one of my favorites, but I think he was a good fighter in a lot of regards. But I'm not going to be, like, totally beyond upset if he's not in the game. I'm also not going to be surprised if he's not in the game, because I frankly doubt he's going to be. Okay, the next thing I would like to talk about is Target Test, and how I really, really hope Target Test is going to be more like Melee than it was in Brawl. They could not have made Target Test more horrendous in Brawl if they tried. It was so much better in Melee, because you'll notice in Melee, on every character's Break the Target stage, that it's unique to that character. Like Mario's is like a construction site, Bowser's has sort of like a castle theme to it, Mr. Game & Watch's is inside a giant Game & Watch. They were all so unique and fitting to the character. But in Brawl, it was so dumb. They just like, okay, I have a better idea, guys. We're gonna make, now hear me out, shut up! We're gonna make 5 stages for Target Test, but you can play as any character on it. Woo! That pissed me the hell off. That, like, first of all, they took all the imagination out of Target Test. All the imagination, all the creativity, and the reason that the stages were designed the way they were, like with the character-specific stuff and whatnot. That's why I like Target Test so much. It was imaginative and creative and fitting to the character. And they removed that with, like, just like these pre-rendered stages with backgrounds that looked like they're giant paper walls. It just sucked. They took all, like, the imagination and creativity out of it, and, like, made it less of a skill-based mechanic. You used to be able to compete with your friends for the best time, like, to beat on the stages, but now, like, oh, you could just choose a character that you're better with on the stage to, like, get a better time. That's not fair, right? That's, like, taking, like, the fun out of the stage, and, like, how you could beat the stage faster, because, like, you could just choose a character that you're better with for it. No, I mean, you just have the character that is for the stage on the stage. I really just think they ruined it. And I hope they made Target Test like Melee instead of like they did in Brawl, because Brawl's target test really just sucked. It sucked so bad. I also hope that Race to the Finish is included in Smash 4 in some fashion. Like, I hope it's back in Classic mode, because I really didn't like the fact that you had to break the targets twice in Classic mode in Brawl, and if you were playing it on intense difficulty like I was, that you had to do the same stage twice. That was another reason it sucked. Like, you had just did the hardest difficulty one twice, which really wasn't all that hard. Like, and with the items and whatnot, damn, it just sucked so bad. I'm sorry about that noise, I just hit my mic. But Race to the Finish was unique. I like that mode. Because if you look at it in Melee, you can look at, like, the pre-GameCube graphics. Like, sort of like the in-between phase of the N64 and the GameCube. Ugh, it was just so beautiful. Brings back good memories from my childhood. Either way, I hope that's included in some fashion, because I liked it a lot. What else? I preferred the fighting wireframes over the alloys in multi-man mode. Like, you know, multi-man, I like the battlefield better in that game too, but that's beside the point. I just thought the fighting wireframes were like, more unique. Like, sort of like your characters in, like, a giant, like, test chamber or something. Sort of like the Matrix kind of thing, and they have to fight all these, like, pre-rendered wireframes, which is why I like that better. But, like, the alloys, I didn't like how they looked. I thought they were dumb looking, to be honest with you. It was cool how they included, like, a little Mario and Kirby model into multi-man mode, but I still didn't like the alloys too much. But that's just me. That's just personally my opinion, you know? I didn't like how they looked. I liked the fighting wireframes better. Now, one more thing about Melee is that Mario is my absolute best character in Smash, generally. He's good in just about every game. And I also was reading up on the mechanics of Smash 4, because, like, with some guy who got, like, hands-on experience with it, and he wrote, like, an article about, like, all the mechanics of it and whatnot. It's too extensive and probably too boring for a lot of players who just care about the creativity of Smash and not the mechanics to really talk about and list, so I'm not gonna do that. But Mario, I read, was, like, virtually unchanged, which made me really happy, because Mario's good in, like, every Smash Bros. Game to me. He's just my absolute best character. Everybody has their best character, and, you know, he's probably my best because, like, I was obsessed with Mario as a child, and I played as him. If I didn't play as Mario in Smash when I was a little kid, I didn't play. I just didn't play. You know, I had that sort of mindset when I was a kid. Sort of like tunnel vision, I suppose. But I guess that's what made him, like, my main and my best. And the fact that he's not changed in Smash 4 makes me really happy, because it just knows I'm going to kick ass with him again. The only thing I read about that they changed is that they made his knockback better. Like, they made his knockback even stronger, which just... that makes me even happier, knowing that I'm going to be able to just... not even just combo the shit out of people like I usually do with Mario, but that I'm going to be able to just whack them even farther than I normally do, which is going to make me so happy. Mr. Game & Watch is also my other main, which he's one of my favorites as well, because he's just so good to me. He really is. He's just so good. There are characters that speak to you in Smash that you're just so good with, automatically, you know? And those characters for me are Mario and Mr. Game & Watch. I'd like to ask one question, though, before I move on here. I want to talk about how he was in Pac-Man's trailer. I know that the reason he was in is because they wanted to show that these characters that are now in Smash are even older than characters like Mario and Donkey Kong. But if he's not gonna be in the game, which would piss me off if he wasn't, then why would they put him in the trailer? They could have easily showed that, oh, Pac-Man's in the game now, and we have a character that's even older than Mario and DK in this game. They didn't have to bring Mr. Game & Watch out for that if they weren't gonna include him. And the only reason I bring this up is because, like, he was in that trailer, and they didn't confirm him on the website or anything. Like, they didn't confirm that he was in the game, and I don't really know why, because, like, they put him in the trailer, so why wouldn't they just reveal him? Whatever. I don't really know why they did that. I'm sure Mr. Game & Watch is going to be in the game, but God forbid he's not. I'm going to be very upset. And finally, moving on to Brawl. I loved Brawl. My mains, Mario and Game & Watch, were the same in Brawl as they were in Melee. So, there's that. I mean, they never really changed for me, and they're probably not going to change for Smash 4, you know? I mean, they're just my best. I didn't like that Brawl's speed was reduced, because I preferred how Melee was faster, and how, like, it sort of made me feel like my skills were improved. Because, like, let's be honest, Melee's more of a skill-based game than Brawl is. but I'm not so dissatisfied with it that it made me hate Brawl and lose faith in Smash Bros. I was just a little disappointed, but barely though. And that's just now. Because like, as a child, I didn't even notice that Brawl was slower. All I cared about was that I was playing a brand new Smash Bros. Game after a 7-year gap in between games. And I was so happy about Smash being back. That was all I cared about. And I think that's how the community should act about the new Smash Bros. Now as well. One thing I am genuinely happy about is that Smash 4 is faster gameplay-wise. Like, it's just, like, in between the speeds of Melee and Brawl. So it's not as fast as Melee, big whoop, but the game is faster. I'm just generally happy about that, because Brawl was just too damn slow. To the point where you could lose a lot of combos if you're, like, used to playing Melee and whatnot. Sure, the game's more of a faster Brawl than, like, Melee, but just like Brawl, we'll get used to it. The way I know that is because I actually got to play it at Best Buy with a friend of mine, you know, when they were promoting the game at Best Buy, and I know by first-hand experience. I guarantee to you, Melee fanatics, if you stay open-minded, you will love this game. I promise you that. Just, when Smash 4 comes out, play it with an open mind, and just enjoy all the creativity of it. You might be wondering who I played as when I played it at Best Buy. I played as Little Mac when I played the game at Best Buy, and I love Punch-Out. Love, love, love Punch-Out, and I was so psyched when he was announced that I wanted to make him one of my mains. But I am a Smash Bros. Player who really likes to use air combos, and Mac is not designed for that. Sakurai was not exaggerating. Sakurai was not exaggerating when he said that Mac is amazing on the ground and just crap in the air. You cannot combo people into the air as him, because his air moves really are just so pathetically horrendous. So much to compensate for his insanely powerful ground fighting. So to main Mac and to be good with him, I would need to get used to an entirely new style of playing for me. Which really sucks for me, but hopefully I'll be able to handle it, because playing as Mac was a lot of fun. I placed second place in the match that we played at the Best Buy to one other guy who was playing as Bowser, which they buffed the crap out of. I think Bowser's going to be one of the best in the game. I've seen him in action. He's insane. He's fast now. He's sort of like a Melee DK. To be honest with you, he's like a Melee Donkey Kong, because he's fast and still incredibly, incredibly powerful. When I was playing the game, I played as Little Mac both times, on the 3DS and the Wii U, which I probably shouldn't have done. I probably should have, like, split it up so I could play as, like, both characters, because you got to play the 3DS version first, and the Wii U version. And of course, some people, God forbid somebody tries to steal the 3DS that people are sharing to play the game, like the 3DSs, I should say, to share the game. They had a plan for that. If you actually played it at Best Buy, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. The 3DS was hooked to a person by a wire. And not preferably, oh Jesus, why did I say that? No, not preferably. What it actually was on the front of the man's belt. Just a common question for you. Have you ever played a video game that's hooked to another man's crotch? Because that's what I was doing when I was playing Smash on the 3DS. I was holding the 3DS, and there was a wire that just leaned to this guy's belt. It was so weird. When I said that to them, they laughed hysterically, but I'm just thinking to myself, okay, just playing a game that's hooked onto another man's crotch? Why not? A lot of reasons to why not, actually, but that's enough about that. That's enough. Okay. Next, I want to talk about the Subspace Emissary. I'm a little sad that there isn't a Subspace Emissary, or like a mode like that in Smash 4, but I'm happy, because I know that Sakurai isn't rushing this game like he did with Brawl. Because the Subspace Emissary was rushed. If you notice at the end of the Subspace Emissary, they put less and less of the characters, even though they're all together in the cutscenes. Like in the last cutscene after the Great Maze, you figure you're going to see all the characters again, because you just beat it, and now you finally just got to Taboo. But no, they just showed that one cutscene that had Sonic that had Sonic in it, and that was it. Like, even though all the characters were there. You could tell how much they rushed Brawl by its 2 delays, and by, like, those crappy Subspace Emissary ending cutscenes. It was a shame that they did that, really. But Sakurai's not doing that with this game, and I'm happy. And if it means there's no Subspace Emissary, that he's going to make this game as best as he can without any delays, then by all means forget the Subspace Emissary and just make the game. Just make the game, that's it. And take your time with it. That's one very important thing. There are people in gaming communities, all gaming communities really, that are just so stupid. That are just so stupid as hell, man. And Smash Bros. Is no exception to that. There are people who are just like, I want Goku and Naruto to be in the game. Well, Nintendo doesn't own them, and they're also not video game characters. So, no. That's just dumb. I mean, I can't picture any anime characters being in the game. That doesn't make any sense to me. But not even that. It's just people who are like, oh, I want the game now, and they're like asking him to include certain characters. There are some Smash fans that are just so greedy and want the game now. Let Sakurai take his time and make it as best as he can. Because if you're like, I want the game now, I want the game now, and if he actually listened to those kids, and he released it before it was really done, all they would do is complain about how much the game sucks. Some people just need to think of what's best, and what's most important, you know? Just, like, let him take his time, let him make the game as best as he can, because you don't want him to rush it like he did with Brawl, like to just get it out there, you know? You want the game to be the best it can, right? So just be a little patient. Just be a little patient with it then. Patience is a virtue. Let him take his time. That's all I have to say about that. Next, I would like to talk about the Ridley debate and my stance on the Ridley thing. I don't care. I don't care, to be honest with you. At first, I thought he was too big for Smash Bros. I was one of those people who thought he was too big and maybe not important enough, but really, I'm not like a Metroid fan, so I don't really know anything. Because people are saying, like, oh, like, he killed Samus's parents, he's in, like, every game, he's important to be in Smash. Okay, well, I understand that he's an important character now. But the whole big thing, that's kind of gone and out the window, because, you know, Palutena was confirmed for Smash Bros., which I'm psyched about, because I loved Kid Icarus Uprising. That game was incredible. Really happy that she's in the game, because she was one of my favorite characters as well. So there, she was in the game as well, so I guess size really doesn't matter for Smash. Only thing is, though, my stance on this is yes, they could include Ridley. I guess they really could include Ridley. But I doubt that they're going to. I really just don't see it happening. The only way I can see it happening is because the community wants him so bad. But the game's already too far in its development to add another character at this point. At least I think so, or at least... yeah, or at least I think so. But really, what the hell do I know? So, my stance on this is... not my stance. What I think is that Ridley is, if he's in the game, then he's already in the game. I don't think Sakurai is going to add him now just because people want him. And I'm not saying this to put any Ridley fans down or anything. The last thing I want to be is all pessimistic on you guys and be like, yeah, he's not going to be in the game, bro. The only thing I am about that is with Naruto and Goku, because really, dude, they're not going to be in the game. Come on. I don't want to put the Ridley fans down, but I really just want to think as realistically about this as I can. I doubt he's going to be included, but that's just me. He might, I don't know, but I really, really doubt it. Which brings me to my next topic, the Gematsu leak. If you don't know what the Gematsu leak is, it was a supposed leak in Smash Brothers that, like, this guy knows, and all the characters that are going to be in the game, he's predicting them all throughout in order and everything. I'm a firm believer in that it's bullshit. In that it's complete bullshit. And I never know when people are going to stop believing these leaks. Because this guy was wrong about Rosalina and Chrom. He never predicted that Rosalina was going to be in the game. And people have fought me on this, like, he wasn't wrong about Rosalina, he just didn't predict her. So, in other words, he was wrong. Because he didn't predict that Rosalina was going to be in the game. I believe he also predicted that Shulk was going to be confirmed right before the trailer that confirmed Chrom. So, as we all know, Shulk was not confirmed the day before the trailer with Chrom in it, and Chrom is also not in the game. So he was wrong about that as well. What he does, though, is that he has a strategy for it. He's like that fortune teller guy on TV, like, oh, I can feel their presence in this room. Yes, she wants you to eat that banana and then shove the peel in your ear. I feel it! I feel it! She's there! I feel you, Nana! I feel you! No, he makes generalizations based on characters that are expected to be in the game, characters that are highly requested to be in the game, and characters that they figure Nintendo wants to add. He's like a fortune teller, just constantly changing to please the crowd to give the illusion that he can perfectly predict the future. Does anybody remember, like, the whole Mayan 2012 apocalypse thing? Do you remember that old man? No, that wasn't the Mayan apocalypse. That was, like, in May. That was, like, that May. I remember that. This guy's like, oh, the world's going to end on May 21st. You remember that old man? The guy who was, like, friggin' 89 years old. He's like, the world's gonna end, and blah, blah, blah. It's like that. Because when, oh, look at that, he was wrong about May 21st, I believe the date was, that the apocalypse was going to happen. He's like, oh, I made a mistake, guys. It's actually May 21st of 2032, or something like that. I don't know, he said, like, oh, I was wrong. It's actually going to happen at this date. It's the same scenario. It's the same scenario. He was wrong, and so he's changing his opinion about what's going to happen. And yet people continue to believe this. I don't know why. This guy doesn't know who's going to be in the game. No one does except for Sakurai, and like people who work at Nintendo and whatnot. I'm sorry, but it just pisses me off because this guy wants the attention that like he's like the Smash guru and he knows who's going to be in the game and everything. He doesn't. He's a liar. I don't want to rant about that anymore. I really have nothing else to say about it anyway. So, next topic I'd like to talk about is Chrom not being in the game, as I mentioned before. I agree with Sakurai's reasoning for not including Chrom. I understand what he means by it. If you don't know why Sakurai chose not to include Chrom, I think he posted on his Twitter, or like on Miiverse or something about it. The reason he didn't include Chrom, even though as requested as a character as he was because sure, Chrom would be in the game, and all the people who wanted Chrom in the game would be happy. But Chrom, at the end of the day, would just wind up being like another sword fighter. Sure, he would have had like a new moveset and everything, but that new moveset would have gotten old if he was a veteran in like the next Smash Bros. Game and whatnot, and that's all he would have been. Same thing with Ike, you know, like Ike was new, he's a new representative of the Fire Emblem series from Brawl. He's a veteran now, obviously, but in Brawl, like, he was new and whatnot. But he just wound up being like another sword fighter. And that's all he would have been, which explains his reasoning of choosing Robin over Chrom. Because Robin would have been, like, in turn, would have been a better representative of the Fire Emblem series, because he would have introduced a whole new way of playing, and, like, a whole new, like, unique moveset and whatnot. Which is why, like, he chose Robin over Chrom, which makes perfect sense to me. Lucina, though, is a little bit of an iffy topic. The reason Lucina got her own slot was because, like, of that one difference between her and Marth, that, like, Marth gets more damage off the tip of his sword, and Lucina doesn't, which is why she got her own slot. But I guess that doesn't necessarily explain why she's in the game, because, like, she's an exact clone of Marth, but, like, and her moveset isn't really all that different, but she's in the game, which I guess makes sense, because, like, hers is different than Marth's, so she's in the game in that sense. I guess you really just have to, like, try and understand Sakurai's reasoning for it. Like, Lucina's moveset is, like, the same as Marth's, but she's in the game because her, like, little aspect difference between her and Marth is different. But Chrom would have had Chrom, on the other hand, would have had a new moveset, but that's all he would have been, just like a new moveset and whatnot. But then all Lucina is like a difference between her and Marth, which I guess doesn't necessarily make the most sense, but it really doesn't matter too much, at least not to me. I'm sorry to anyone who wanted Chrom to be in the game, but he's not. I apologize. At least he's part of, like, Robin's final Smash. Next, I want to talk about Boss Rush, and how I hope that mode is back as well. I think Smash Run, you know, the 3DS mode, has some bosses in it, so I guess there might be some sort of mode in that department, but there might not be. Maybe there'll be, like, bosses from Brawl that are back in the game, you know? So yeah, I hope that mode's back as well. Last thing I would like to talk about is moving on back to, like, the mechanics of Brawl. Not the mechanics of Brawl, like the mechanics of Smash. There are a bunch of mechanics in this game that I really like. A bunch of, like, new ones that were really cool. Like pivot canceling, so you can turn around and, like, instantly attack your opponent, which is good for when you're retreating from someone and want to attack them. But I think the best thing they included in this game is the new edge mechanics. I was watching a competitive Smash Brothers match, I believe Smash Xanadu is how you pronounce it. It was the grand finals between Junebug, who was playing as Diddy Kong, and Chudat, who was playing as Kirby. Junebug wound up winning. But for like a good 5 minutes in the match, it didn't look like a professional Smash Brothers match. Because Chudat just went to the end of the stage, and constantly jumped up and down on the edge, like while he was holding on to the edge, and like doing like the Kirby suction thing, because he was trying to commit Kirby side. He did that for like a good 5 minutes, and Junebug couldn't approach. I forgot what the reason was, but it was a good reason. But he did that for like 5 minutes straight, because you get the invulnerability back as you land on the edge again, like for that brief second. You can't do that in Smash 4. You can't do that in Smash 4 anymore. You get the invulnerability when you jump on a ledge, but if you just jump from the ledge to the ledge, you're not going to be invincible for that split second again. People will be able to hit you. To get the invulnerability back of landing on a ledge, you have to officially be back on the stage. So you can't just jump up and down on the ledge and wait for people to approach to you, which is actually really good. Because now, like, if a person tries to do that, the other player can just walk up and hit them. So that's going to prevent, like, that camping strategy, which I'm really happy about. So, that's about it. I'm departing from the Smash hype train now. Woo woo! I'm getting off at the nearest stop. That joke is so dumb. Why did I say it? Thank you all so much for bearing with me this time. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys later. Peace out.
Caesar.